The Brutii are still pushing on the Dacians, and the Dacians are trying to push back, but I think over time it's eventually going to start steamrolling in the Brutii's favour. I don't think the Dacians can do much at this point. They're going to fall, because once the Brutii are going against you and you don't have as many troops, then that's when things get difficult. This is the entire Dacian army, whereas with the Germans, they've got so much more troops and garrisons and more troops back here, stuff that the Dacians don't really have. Meanwhile, the British have Tarentum under siege, trying to finally kick the Romans out of Italy. Excluding Sicily, they've never done land there, but you know what I mean. Welcome to part 5 of this AI-only campaign for Rome Told to War. Let's go. And of course the British over here have taken Scalabis. The Spanish are now down to the final 2 settlements, so we're probably going to see them get destroyed in this episode, if they can chew through these armies, that is. And the Carthaginians are also down to their final settlement as well, but I think this will probably hold because the AI, they're not good at invading islands, so this might actually hold out. Oh, that was brutal to see. This all happened in one turn. Armenia lost 3 settlements in one turn. The Seleucids have them all under siege, and I'm guessing they attacked on the same turn. That was brutal to see, actually. And I've got another one under siege here. Do we have, they haven't got Susa under siege yet, but I'm sure they will do eventually. Armenia has lost so much in this episode already. I had so much confidence with them at one point, and then everything just collapsed. It seems like the Scipii are at war with Numidia now, and we're just gonna take some more of their territories. The British are having some difficulties with Tarentum. They've lost about 5 stacks now on this settlement. The Germans are now trying it, but after what we've seen, you know, it's going to be difficult to want to take. The Spanish are now down to their final settlement, and they don't really have any soldiers left. It's just a matter of time until the British take this. Where are they going to go next, though? They can't really sail across the sea. I don't think the British AI is able to do that, so once this Brutii army is gone, the only faction that they'll be bordering will be the Germans. That could be really interesting. If they win this against the Germans, then they're probably going to win the campaign. If the Germans push back, then they're going to have to invest troops, they'll lose troops over here, and I think the Brutii will take all this land, so then they'll win. So it's either the Germans are going to go to war at some point, I think, with a big faction, and the Germans are going to die to one of them, but the one they died to, I think could quite easily win this campaign, or become, you know, a contender, a challenger to the Seleucid Empire, because, you know, the Seleucid Empire is going to be a big empire until the end, I think. It's more about which European faction can take enough land to pose a threat to them. Like, if they have more land, they win. That's what I'm trying to say. That's where the challenge is for Europe. The Germans didn't have that good luck, and now the British are trying. Eventually this settlement will fall, but they need to take it quickly because they're losing a lot of armies, and the Brutii are just building up stronger and stronger in Greece, but then they'll eventually loop around, cut them off and take all this. This has happened before, the Brutii can do this, but whether they've got the time, I don't really know. So of course they need to take this and get the troops onto this front now, just to try and slow them down. Same with the Dacians as well, they need to throw everything at them, because if you don't throw everything at the Romans will just become too powerful. The Scipii are expanding further into North Africa now. They should be able to take all this quite easily. Where are they going to go next? Well, I think we're going to go for the Seleucid Empire, and then either the Seleucids will take all of Africa, or the Scipii will. Only one can do it, I think. Only one. The Armenians have been pushed out now of the Middle East mostly. They've still got one settlement down here, which is probably going to last longer than I thought. They don't seem interested. But, you know, they've been mostly pushed out now, across the mountains. Well done to the Seleucid Empire, they're looking really good. We're going to check the stats at the end of this episode, by the way, if you're wondering. And there we go. Numidia has been destroyed. Africa is now split between the Roman half and the Seleucid half. And as I said, I think only one will come to dominate Africa. I can't imagine Africa being like a split continent at the end. One faction will control it all, but which one out of the two will it be? I think the Scipii could definitely do it. And the loss of these 5 settlements here to the Seleucid Empire could be what puts them in 2nd place rather than 1st place. No one's having any luck at all down here. And now the Romans are making a move. They have Segestica under siege. I think the Germans should be able to defend this settlement, but the fact that the Romans are making that push and putting settlements under siege shows that they're ready to go and be aggressive. And that's not what you want to see from the Brutii. It falls. The Brutii are making a push on all fronts now. And it is exactly as I said. They're looping around. They're going to take northern Italy. They're going to cut them off. They've got this settlement here under siege again, but you know they've held out so many times. I'm not worried about the Romans here. And yeah, this is where the Brutii, I think, could make the comeback. I think they could do it here. But you know, there's 69 years left of the campaign. That's only about 120 turns, 130 turns, 140 turns actually. They've got time to make the comeback and actually become bigger than the Seleucid Empire. But the British also have a time to make a comeback. Well, not a comeback, but you know, take some more land and also become a big faction. Patavium has fallen. The Germans are now cut off. They might be able to retake Segestica here. But the Brutii, they're just pushing. They're moving on to Aquinkum. Yeah, this settlement here. And they're moving into Dacian territory. They've got... Oh, no. The Brutii, they're expanding too fast. The Barbarians should have been more aggressive with them earlier. And now I think it's too late. I think it's too late at this point. Well, it means that the Brutii, the British, now don't have to go to war with the Germans. We're going to be bordering the Brutii for a while, so these two here could team up as a Barbarian alliance to try and bring down Brutii, along with the Dacians' help, of course. And right now, I'll say it's balanced. The German, Gallic, Dacian alliance, compared to just Brutii alone, is a balanced. It's going to be a balanced war, I think. And that just says how powerful the Brutii are if they're able to hold their own like that. They've got the Greek economy now, which is just a load of money there for them. A lot of good trade. If they can retake Italy, nothing can stop the Brutii if they do that. Yet again, Tarentum holds out for another siege, and I do believe that that was the final chance for the Barbarians to take Tarentum. This settlement is now done by here, Brutii occupied forever. And now, the Brutii making a very big push on Dacia. I think Dacia is at this point done, the Brutii is going to take all the land. As for the Germans can still make a comeback if they work with the British and play it right. But it gets more unlikely with every turn. At long last, Tarentum has finally fallen to the British. They actually did it. And it's all of a sudden too late. The British are moving into Italy now. Now that we've got a good settlement in Patavium and Segestica, they can train new troops here, and they're just going to flood into Italy and into Germany. We've got to... What the Barbarians have to do is focus everything on retaking these 2 settlements and trying to push them back. But whilst this is happening, the Brutii are expanding into Dacia. They're getting more money by taking these easy settlements, and they're just putting the money into this war over here against the Germans and the British. I think the Barbarian world is going to fall, and the Romans are going to take it back. I think they're going to take it back. Which is sad to see, but it's also nice to see a comeback as well. It's always difficult to decide what I want to see in this. Rest in peace, Dacia. They've now been cut off into 2 empires. They're probably going to lose this one soon now that it's cut off, and they'll be down to their final 5 at that point. And even then, I can't imagine these holding that long. I think the Brutii, look how big they are now compared to how they were at the start. That's just how Roman Marian reforms work. That's why I made a mod to remove them. I'm not actually running that mod in this campaign, but I did have a mod that removes Marian reforms, and it does seem to make the Romans a normal balanced faction. The British are just not interested in the Spanish anymore. They're just going to let them live here forever. They've got them surrounded, they've got the troops to make the push, but they're just not doing it. They're bringing a lot of troops over here into Italy. They know the threat of the Brutii. The Germans are also trying to bring all the troops here, but they're just not winning the battles they need to, and they're losing settlements. They're just not playing right. And now they've got another front with the Brutii, as the Brutii can now come from this way and this way. They don't have to separate, and yeah, the Germans are just about to collapse at one point, at some point. Like what happened to Dacia, that's about to hit the Germans right now. Like how the British are not interested in this final Spanish settlement, the Seleucids seem to feel the same way about the Armenians. They're just letting them live here, and I think they are going for this one, but they keep failing because of course it's a long distance. But yeah, they're not able to take this settlement here. Nothing's really happened on the Brutii front. The British put Batavium under siege, but they should be fine there. Or maybe not. If these barbarians slow down the Brutii, and then the British bring in some reinforcements, yeah, they could be able to take it back. Then Segestica will be out in the open. Yeah. Although these Romans here could force the Germans to lose Leuvenum. Finally, after doing nothing for about 20 turns, the Brutii have taken Leuvenum. And yeah, we've still got the troops here. I think they're struggling with the British a bit. The British are playing very defensive. If anything, that's kind of the best thing to do, as they're playing for time. But also, the Romans are going to get powerful and take these settlements anyway at some point. So they kind of also need to push in the hope of forcing the Romans back. It's a weird position that AI is in right now, the Barbarians. One by one, the Brutii reclaim Roman territory. Mediolanium has fallen, and the Barbarians are almost cut off in Italy now. So yeah, if I can cut them off and move down here and retake Rome, then that would be really good for them. Whilst pushing up against the Germans, it looks like they're going to take another settlement from Dacia there. We've got troops up here. They're here as well. The Brutii, I don't think they can be stopped at this point. The Dacians are now down to the final 4 settlements. I think they're... yeah, I keep saying this, but they're definitely dead now. Oh, 5 settlements, sorry, 5 settlements. The Germans are back to their starting border, which is not good, and they're going to lose another 2 settlements by the looks of things. Yeah, but they're not looking good at all, the Germans. It's all just collapsed for them in this episode. I like how every episode has one faction rise and another falls in every single episode. In the last one, I guess it was Armenia and the British and the Romans falling. Now it's the Romans rising, and the Germans and the Dacians collapsing. And on the final turn of this episode, the Brutii took 2 settlements from the Germans. Yeah, I feel sorry for the Germans now. They tried so hard to keep the Brutii at bay, keep them down. Same with the Dacians and the British as well, but it's all just collapsed now. The Brutii are going to take everything, but can they do it in time? There's only 100 turns left of this campaign. Can they do it? Let's check the stats. Okay, so I've got the top 5 factions in here. The Seleucid Empire, the Brutii, is that the British in third? Yeah, the British is in the light blue, the Scipii there, and the Germans are still in the top 5, which is nice to see for them. You know what, I'll put Armenia in as well, because they had an interesting campaign. They were doing so well. For Armenia, they were doing well, and now it's all gone. Military, as you can see there, production, and territory. This is the important thing. So 100 turns left. The Seleucid Empire has about 27 settlements. The Brutii with 23 settlements. The British now with about 22 settlements. And then we have the Scipii 11. The Germans are all the way down to 6. At this point here they were 12. They've lost half their empire in this episode alone. And the Brutii have over doubled in size in just this episode. Yeah, this is about the start of this episode, I think. Armenia, they were stronger than the Brutii at one point, and then everything collapsed as the Brutii rose. For a small period here, the British were doing the best. It didn't last that long because the Seleucids took Armenian territory and took the lead, but yeah, for a time, they had it. Either way, hope you've enjoyed this video. Hope to see you in the next one, which will be part 6. This is, of course, the end of part 5. Do you think the Romans are going to continue with their storm across Europe and end up taking the win? I think they will, but Do you think it will continue, or do you think the Barbarians, in one way or another, will be able to make a comeback? Do you think the Brutii, in the 100 turns that remains, will be able to take enough settlements to overtake the Seleucid Empire? Of course, bearing in mind that the Seleucid Empire is also going to continue to expand, more than likely. Do you think they can do it? Right now, there's two main superpowers that have the potential to win, the Brutii and the Seleucid Empire, and then there's another two powers who, it's very unlikely by this point, but they're still in it, the British and the Scipii. They're probably not going to win, but they're still in it. And yeah, they're like superpowers. And then the rest are just gone at this point. There's no chance of comebacks this late in the campaign. It's very rare. Please do subscribe for more, and goodbye.